Hello, I'm Fabrizio Rizzo, lead designer at Small Things Studios, and you're listening to Sim World Podcast.
Sup, fools? It's the Scene World Podcast. I'm AJ. That over there is Jurg.
Me.
Being Jurg.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Scene World Podcast. I think I said that
Welcome.
already. In a minute, we will be... where are we today?
We are at Parking World.
Parking World, yes. Well,
Yes.
Yes. It is early. I am not entirely awake, I would say,
Ooh.
so I apologize for that, the snafu. But Parking World, which
Yes.
is more than just parking. We discovered.
Yes. I can spoiler that the interview was a lot more interesting and deep talk than we originally anticipated. So we spoke to Jens Wiechering from Binary Impact, who is actually the founder of the company and the boss from Senat Palic.
Yep.
Yeah, our good old Senat friend. Hello. The one that Bill Winters always pronounces Senat.
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, that's about it. Before though, we have some news.
We have some news. Yes. Who should go first?
You.
Okay. The documentary Commodore 64 Revolution has begun crowdfunding.
Oh.
It is a feature-length documentary on the T64, looking at its history and cultural impact. It's being done by a professional production company. Crowdfunding is being done in Indiegogo. It's going to be in English.
Wow.
They are looking for... they're planning on making a 100-minute documentary. So, a little under 2 hours. A 40-minute making of documentary, which is a documentary on a documentary, which is almost as long as the documentary, which
Not
strikes me as kind of weird.
Well, that's
and
it.
Yeah, and a soundtrack that can be downloaded. So you can
Physical
find out about
releases,
that.
Blu-ray, DVD, something?
I don't think so. It says 100-minute documentary for download streaming.
Ah, too bad. That was actually something we discussed with I Adore My 64.
Right, yeah.
Where he was last minute.
I'm looking at the Indiegogo page right now, and I do not see. Right now, it's early days. Like they've just begun, and so it says you can sign up for a discount or whatever, but there's no. I don't see any place to. There's a place where you can sign up to get the notification for when they start to crowdfund. This other thing that I saw made it look like they were already crowdfunding, but Indiegogo says otherwise. So either way, link will be in the description. So
awesome.
So that'll be there. The other thing I got, which is another startup, and was largely crowdfunded and crowdsourced, really, was the Commander X16, which, if you recall, is the 8-bit guys. Yeah, the 8-bit guys, like the pet project. Like he wanted to build the computer that he wanted to build. So it's got, it's a 6.5 CO2S at 8 megahertz as the CPU. Running at 8 megahertz, I think I said that. It's got 40K of low RAM, 512K of high RAM, and 64 banks of 8K. It's expandable up to 2 megs. It's got a standard Commodore kernel, so we're working with Basic 2.0. He made a lot of this very Commodore compatible-ish. You know, like it uses the Commodore kernel, Commodore Basic, but also it takes a PS2 keyboard and mouse, 2 SNES game ports. It's got an IEC compatible disk drive port for like a Commodore disk drive. Also, an internal SD card slot. For audio, it's using a YM2151 sound chip, and as well as PCM audio and a PSG waveform generator.
Not bad.
Multiple output formats, VGA and TSC, a composite, S-video, and RGB.
And PAL?
I don't see anything about PAL. I see it's all in TSC. But VGA would probably work with PAL.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because it's not differentiating. It's 50 hertz
right.
regardless.
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever hertz your monitor supports.
Yeah. Yeah, but it says, you know, everything else is at a fixed resolution of 640 by 480 at 60. Well, actually, multiple output formats at a fixed resolution of 640 by 480 at 60 hertz. 60 so hertz. even the VGA might be 60 hertz.
But which is not too good because by law, at least in Europe and stuff, you would have at least 75 hertz to be ergonomic and not eye straining. I don't know if I would build a computer that would still have the eye straining like the old 80s Commodore 64 and other computers. So at least you should have an ergonomic minimum of 75.
My monitor's working at 100.
Yeah, well, anyways, 75 is the minimum. Where it's considered not flickering for the human eye. Yeah. For most people. There are some hypersensitive people where it has to be higher. But normally, by law, at work, for example, you are not allowed to sit at the monitor lower than 75.
I'm one of the weird people that could see the flickering of the C64 screen. Or any TV screen, any CRT screen, I could see the flicker just with my own eyes. And it was annoying, which is why I liked when like flat. This is why I don't use actual CRT monitors. I've got these LCD things which still flicker a bit, especially this fucking Amiga monitor, which is in interlace mode, so it flickers like a bitch. But
still better than.
It's still native. Better than watching that thing go, you know, down the screen, you know, the screen get redrawn.
Well, then you are one of those people.
Yeah.
That I just mentioned.
But that's a helicopter. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, it looks like even the VGA is 640 by 480 by 60.
What is your personal opinion? Would you have stuck with obsolete basic with bugs and stuff?
Well,
and having a VGA connector that is not even considered ergonomic anymore.
Okay,
by
here's my
60 hertz?
Opinion on this is that with the X16, he wanted to build a machine that he wanted to build the machine he always wanted to have, right? You know, the things that he was missing from a C64 and whatnot growing up. So in some instances, yes, I do understand keeping the old, you know, it's Commodore Microsoft Basic 2.0, identical to the C64 and VIC-20, but with Commodore X16 extensions. So it is extended, but you know, and I mean, it's got, you know, expansion slots, you know, a user port. It's got an expansion, an expansion slot, which I don't know is the same kind of expansion slot as the 64 has. It seems to have a lot of 64 stuff, but I would go more the Mega 65 route where you've got the old hardware, but it translates to newer video. You know, because not everyone's going to have that old screen that they can hook it up to. Not everyone's going to have.
And not many TFTs support 60 hertz. or 50 or even below that.
Right. Well, in most monitors, even a modern monitor, a 640 by 480 on my curved Samsung monitor is going to look like crap. Like that's just
because it's used by BIOS screens, boot ups and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right. But still, trying to use that like an ultra wide or something is going to be murder. So that's. But and again, not everybody has the 4x3, S-Video NTSC thing that they can plug it into. Now in Europe, most of the machines can handle both NTSC and PAL. So,
but only TVs, not the monitors.
Right. So you luck out in that respect. But here in the U.S., we're stuck with 60 hertz. Nothing supports 40 or 50 hertz, which is stupid.
Yeah, but except a few exceptions.
Yeah. Like my Apple, my cinema display can do 50 hertz, but I also can't plug my C64 into it. So, what good is it?
Yeah, I see. Anyway, other news.
Oh, but anyway. Yeah. There's the helicopter again. Oh, and it says why VGA instead of POSIT or HDMI, and he says licensing. It's fairly simple to implement an HDMI device, but we would have to pay license fees to build an actual HDMI output.
But VGA, you could have used composite, which is not very much used in Europe, but it still has the same resolution and signal possibilities as HDMI.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything about when they talk about composite or HDMI. He talks all about HDMI, but nothing about composite.
No, I mean component.
No, composite, like the C64. Yeah. C64 had composite. It's just basically S-Video.
I know. Yeah. But
Component has extra.
S-Video is still a bit better than composite.
Yes, but component is basically HDMI in different wires.
I know, yeah. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah,
if it's about licensing, why using not an equalized output that has the same output quality? I mean, okay, in Europe the only device that ever had it was the PlayStation 2, but never mind. You can still get the cable, and even if you don't have the right cable, you can just use an audio-video plugin.
Right. Yeah.
And just recolor the wires.
Yeah, but so you can get the Commander X16 Developer Edition for $350 from Texelec. You can also get the upgrade for $35, a keyboard for $35, a mouse for $13. It's just a PS2 mouse, so I don't know why it's just a PS2 keyboard. So
and USB is actually not having licensing issues, I guess.
Yeah, power supply is $12. There's an expansion port prototype card for $7 to $13. It's again we again fall into the Mega 65 or the Commodore 65 hole where you've got this new machine, but there's no
support for new hardware.
Well, no, not new support. No, it's not support for new hardware, but there's no software ecosystem.
That's also a problem.
It's like I desperately want a C65 or a Mega 65. Mega 65 people, I'm still waiting. But again, there's a very small software library for it, so it's going to sit on a desk and do nothing for 90% of the time because what are you going to do with it? What's the what can you do with the machine? Because there's no because it was a prototype that sat in in mothballs for years. Now they've brought it back and they've developed an actual machine out of it. But there's a helicopter again.
Yeah.
It's one of those days. They're just doing circles around my house.
No problem.
But yeah, there's just no infrastructure for it, and that discourages one from buying, or from really getting into it because you have to start that from scratch. You got to make your own software from scratch, and if you want to do anything, and if I want to do something on the computer, I can pretty much do it already because I've got a modern-esque machine.
True. Yeah, well,
But we'll put the link to
life.
where you can get that. Yeah,
Right.
we'll put the link to where you can get that and the specs and all that stuff. And it says that shipping will begin at the end of February.
Nice, that's pretty soon. Not
Yeah.
bad. Anyway, other news. Giant Software and John Deere announced a cooperation to release Farming Fun for Children, which is also called Farming Simulator Kids. So yeah, actually Farming Simulator Kids is like a kids version of Farming Simulator that's going to be released amongst the Switch.
Farming Fun for Children sounds like the worst thing ever.
Farming Simulator Kids is called, as I said, and they announced Farming Fun for Children. That's the tagline. And it's suited for all ages, and it's coming spring 2024. And has play agriculture and variety of mini games and education and entertainment for the little ones, experiencing the value to produce.
So basically, it's nothing like the original Farming Simulator.
Yeah.
It's something completely different. They're just taking the Farming Simulator name on to get kids interested. Yeah. Turn them into the farmers of tomorrow.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Someone's got
feature highlights: child-friendly graphics, music, and sound effects.
What is a child-friendly graphic?
Like Fortnite. I always considered Fortnite to be more child-like graphic.
As a person who was once a child, I liked more realistic graphics.
That's why I prefer to play PUBG and not Fortnite.
Yeah, but as I've gotten older, I've gone to appreciate the chintzier graphics. But when I was a kid, I wanted that stuff to look real.
I know. Anyway, multiple locations to explore: farm, barn, market, and more. Whatever that is.
Well, what was it again? Farm, something?
Barn, market, and more.
Barn, yeah. So barn's where you keep the cows and chickens and stuff.
And farm is a farm, and market and more. I don't know.
Market is where you sell the stuff that you grow.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where you grow your corn and your beef. I guess that's what you keep in your. We're making gameplay to a game that we've never seen before.
Other highlights:
Send to yourself.
10 plus crops to plants and harvest. 75 plus food items, 100 plus objects and other items, vehicles and tools by John Deere.
Send to yourself.
Center myself?
Yes. You're off the screen.
Okay.
There's the helicopter again.
Ooh. Never mind. Anyway,
after this and tell them.
And then there is domestic and wild animals to befriend and care for.
Wait, what?
Characters.
Wild animals to befriend?
Yes. That's good.
I'm sorry, but if you've got like a coyote or something stalking your herds, you're not going to befriend that coyote.
Well, lovable characters and animals to meet.
They're teaching kids just to go out in the woods and get themselves killed when they try to make friends with a fucking bear. Oh, look, it's a black
Activities
bear.
like-
I have made friends with them in the game.
Activities like field tasks, driving vehicles, gardening, and making sandwiches. The making sandwiches is very important. So little John knows how to make sandwiches.
Oh, Lordy. Oh, God.
Uh,
I hope you're making sandwiches out of the farm animals that you have on site that you've grown to love.
yeah, achievement system and video creator.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And anyway, this press release was not done by Giants, but by John Deere.
Okay.
Just to point it out.
Okay. This reminds me a lot of the fact of the moment that I realized that Pokemon is basically just like an animal fighting ring.
Mm-hmm.
You're capturing animals
I
and
know.
making them fight each other.
I know.
That's terrible.
I know.
We outlawed like chicken fights and stuff because of that.
And dog fights and
Yeah,
stuff.
dog fights and whatnot. Yeah, and now I'm out
Yeah.
there. I'm out there, capturing, electric mice to make them fight fucking dragons, and that just seems unfair somehow.
Mhm. And you dope them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you keep them in a tiny egg.
Anyway, I thought you
ball.
would like the press announcement, so that's why I
I
mentioned.
I thoroughly
It's
enjoyed it.
hilarious. It's hilarious.
That was thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah. Anyway, other not so funny news. Dana Zidorenko was interviewed by Hacker Noon about woman in tech.
I saw that.
You saw that?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dana Zidorenko, the co-founder of Game Tree that we had recently as a guest. And so she is now running around investing time and energy to promote more women in gaming.
Awesome. That's excellent.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's one of our better guests, I feel like, that we had. It was her and somebody else, right?
Weren't all our guests awesome? I feel like all our guests were awesome.
But I believe it was her and somebody else that we interviewed, right?
Yeah, John Uyuk.
Yes, right. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying it was one of our better interviews, and it was a good product, and she was a good guest, and
Definitely.
Yeah, we wish her all the best. Yeah, I believe we were going to do a follow-up later on down the road, but she may be too big for us to do a follow-up next time.
Anyway, it motivated me to invite Women in Gaming, the organization, to our podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's see.
I thought. Oh, what just happened?
I don't know. You just
my camera.
Your camera just switched. Yeah.
I'm back now. That's good. I thought for a minute you were just saying you were going to invite women in gaming.
It's called Women in Gaming. That's the name of the organization.
That's a good invite. That's a good invite. Just inviting arbitrary women.
You should have a copy in your inbox.
Yes,
by the way. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm still. As mentioned, I just scroll out of bed. So we
don't. Never mind. You were shocked about the good news. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't record these intros. We don't record these concurrently to when we do the podcast. So I guess you haven't figured that out by now. So sometimes it's weird. It's weird times when we're doing interviews or intros, and today is a kind of last minute
True.
intro thing.
Exactly.
That I hadn't planned on until 10 minutes before the intro started.
All right.
Let me explain to people that I have to do something at a normal time that we would record. So I said, hey, can we do it an hour or two early? But Jurg's like, I got to do physical therapy, so I can only do it at this time. And I woke up and looked at my phone and saw that and was like,
10 minutes.
10 minutes from now. So let me rapidly jump in the shower, get dressed, run downstairs, and start an intro with almost no preparation.
Awesome. Yeah, well, gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway,
But well, I enjoyed this.
wonderful, wonderful. Especially the parts where you talk about the helicopter 3 times.
I mean, this is a thing that happens every so often where I'm pretty sure they're just training. And I live near an airport, which is good. But the helicopter people, I think I'm pretty sure they're practicing, and they just do circles around the airport.
Right.
It happens to go over my house, and so there's a phone number that I have that I can call and tell them to stop flying your damn helicopter over my house, and they will. But they didn't start until after we started recording, so.
Oh, you can actually call them? Okay.
Yes, and I will record them because it annoys me when they do this over and over all day. Here comes
they
again.
have to do it at some point. They have to do it at some point, don't
Here comes
they?
again.
Yeah, we hear it. Anyway,
but they can do it in the other. They can do it in the other direction. They can do it where it's not over my house.
Okay. And then the other people call them in the other direction, and then they.
The other direction is businesses and stuff. There's nothing. There in farms. There's nothing.
Nobody
over
cares.
Yeah.
Okay. Little annoyed HA. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't like helicopters. I'm a plane guy. I'm an airplane guy. Helicopters. We had one of those, those auto gyros. It's like a plane, but it looks like a helicopter, but the wing is actually the prop on top, which is mostly unpowered. One of them crashed here a couple weeks ago at the airport really badly, and I think somebody died. They were gonna have an air show, and they ended up getting canceled because of that.
Whoa. Anyway, I like both. I like helicopters as well.
Riding in a helicopter is cool. I don't like the noise they make, and I don't like flying them.
Did you ever try flying them?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway,
I flew a Cessna Cessna 172, a Cessna 150, a Piper Cherokee Archer.
Those are helicopters?
Those are single engine planes.
But I asked if you're
Cessna 402, which is a twin engine, and I tried a helicopter. There was a helicopter on the at the airport, and they're like, "You want to try it?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I messed around with the helicopter, and I don't like it because the controls are completely not what I wanted. If I was into helicopters and wanted to invest the time into really learning how to do it, it would be probably easier than a plane. But I also just don't like. I don't know. I don't know. I like airplane. I've got an airplane thing. I like airplanes. Awesome. The helicopter's like a ball with a prop. Although I have mixed feelings on those auto gyros that look like helicopters but act like planes. Because I think they're ultralights.
Anyway, before we lose track of time, let's move on.
Yes. Sorry.
Other news: Flashback 2 has been released on November 16th. Apart to other platforms, also on Steam. Flashback is one of those retroscoped games with awesome graphics released for Amiga and PC back in the 90s, and the Mega Drive, by the way, and the Super Nintendo. Was very, very, very successful. Technically, a marvelous thing. So now there's Flashback 2. So another retro game finding success, hopefully, in a follow-up.
Nice.
Yeah. And also, last but not least, my final news for today, Telltale Games.
Oh, our good guy. I thought they closed down. I thought they shut
They did, but they were refounded by an investment company in 2019. And they released their first adventure game since they were reborn. And that was actually The Expanse, a Telltale series. Which is interesting.
The Expanse.
Which is interesting because despite its name, they are not the studio. They are the publisher.
Okay.
Yeah. The studio was actually Deck 9.
Yeah.
And before they released on Steam, they have been a 4-month Epic Store exclusive, and it sold pretty badly on the Epic Store because nobody likes the Epic Store except for playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've got something else on the Epic Store that I play. What
they have their free games every weekend, but
oh,
still.
no, it's not a free game. It's something that I purchased. Let me just see, because I don't often. You're right. I don't often open the Epic Store, but of course this could be an update.
It's always taking long for the Epic Store to load. Anyway,
something that I purchased on it.
On the bad side of the news, they recently fired or let go almost all of the staff.
Of who?
Telltale Games.
Oh, I thought they had done this a long time ago.
Nope, just recently.
Oh, okay.
I mean, with the new recreated company from 2019.
Right.
You know? And which is sad because, of course, press asked, like, how about The Wolf Among Us 2 that was announced to be released? The Wolf Among Us was their one of their most successful adventure games, and they said it's still coming out. None of the games we are currently working on are cancelled or on hold, which is questionable if it's also said that most of the staff were let go.
Yeah, really.
So who is left to
finish
the games? You know,
the one guy that's finishing everything up.
Probably like that. Yeah.
And now I gotta sign into Epic Games because apparently.
Anyway.
And it's a password that I don't normally use. Also, it's a gyrocopter. Is the thing that I was that crashed.
Nice. Okay. Good. Well, I got to go now, so let's finish
this. Hang on. Yeah, let me enter my password so I can tell you what else I play on the Epic's Game account. My library. Let's see. Library. Library. There we go. There's nothing in my library.
You see?
God Galaxy.
Nice.
That's all I've got on there.
Yeah.
What? Maybe I'm thinking of something different.
Perhaps. Anyway, I got to go now. So
I only got one thing there.
Anyway.
Oh well.
Let's jump to Jens Wiechering talking about Parking World.
Yes.
The world of parking.
The world of parking, which is more than just parking.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a world of parking.
Yes.
Parking World. Okay. Boop, boop.
This went off the rails.
Today we have another guest in our podcast, and today it's actually Jens Wiechering, one of the co-founders of Binary Impact, a software studio that I read has been founded in '87, under a different name though.
Yes, well, it was still a software company, but there was no mentioning of games in '87.
Nice.
What did you start doing in '87?
Me, probably nothing.
No, I mean the company rather.
The company just did like frameworks for banking solutions on mainframe servers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so totally different thing. That
A bit.
was that was my father and my mother who founded the company,
Oh.
and in 2016 my father wanted to stop and dissolve the company, and me and my partner Sebastian, we wanted to found a company. So in the end we thought, oh, it would be much less court cost and additional fees if we just take over the mantle of the company. And so my father did not have to dissolve anything, and we did not have to basically found anything. So that was just handed over. And yeah, we continued from there under a new name, now Binary Impact. But that's the thing, you have a registration number, and people can Google that and they will find and they want to know. So we that happened. It was like Consus, now it's Binary Impact. And
Well, actually, I just looked up your About Us page. I didn't Google it, so.
well, but
I took
Google that. I heard.
I took the even easier route. Anyway, today we will not be talking about business software, but about a game that is announced for next year by your company, and it's actually called Parking World.
Yes.
Yeah. And the interesting thing there I found is your publisher is actually Aerosoft, who is also known for all those other kinds of simulation games. For example, I already own a license of City Driving, which
Great.
is which is also one of the games they published. So quite interesting. So
what is City Driving? If you don't.
Oh,
mind.
City Driving is actually by a Russian software company that also does in the business world real driving simulators for driving schools around the world, and they made a home version for your average gaming PC. And actually, a few years back, they decided instead of self-publishing, also go over Steam and transfer the publishing to Aerosoft via Steam. So yeah, anyway. So Aerosoft is this way not only active in Germany, but as I said, also
but it's just
other...
like real-time driving through a city.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like I said, a home software version of the business driving simulators.
I love the simulator things that are like farming simulator and you know, like Euro Truck or whatever, where it's just like you're doing a thing.
Right. But City Driving is more serious because normally their software is used in those big thousands of euros expensive driving simulators, you know, with the hydraulics and stuff. So anyway, so we are branching a bit off from the parking simulator. So
well, there's driving and there's parking. You got to do both.
Right.
Well, but if you're looking for a simulator, you will be a little bit disappointed. Well, actually, you have to build and manage a parking garage.
Oh,
so that's what the game is about. So it's more like a city builder, but instead of the city, you just build the parking garage.
Okay, that makes so much more sense because I was like, wow. Like before this, I was secretly thinking to myself, I was like, wow, a game based around something that I don't like. Yeah, like a game based entirely around things I don't like.
Well, that's the thing about the topic, because everyone has a story about parking. If you have a car or not, if you have a driver's license or not, you have a story about parking. So, and this is where we want to basically connect with the players, to see if you can manage it better in the end.
Right. Yeah.
So it's more like football simulator, but about parking houses.
I'm not familiar with football simulator, but
maybe theme park simulator or like Tycoon or something.
Yeah, like Planet Coaster or something. Yeah, that's more.
Okay.
So the simulation part is only that. Of course, there you have a multitude of jobs you have to do in your parking garage, like for example cleaning. But instead of just having to hire someone and see it being done, you can also jump in and do it yourself. So that is the little simulation part in there. But
Okay.
basically, it's a management game.
So now the question is, of course, how did you get the idea to make such a kind of managing / simulation game?
The whole idea came from an industry project we did for VW, namely for the Audi group. We built an editor for them, which they use to build parking garages and export the data to train AI for autonomous parking.
Oh.
And at the end of the project, we could build a parking garage and export it for their so they can use it for the datas. Yeah, they did not want to send out a measurement team to measure a real existing garage, because that's way more expensive than just build it on your desk. So that was their idea. And at the end, one of the teams said, and if now one of the streets or every street cost like €5, then we would have a game. And everyone was like, oh yeah. So the idea was born to make it into a management game.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Especially if I look back, your previous games were like VR games, or or platformer challenging games like Beam. So this is actually a totally different type of game that you are doing compared to what you did before in the game sector.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome.
We do a lot of industry projects, so the skills are all over the board. Some here, some there, some VR training, some educational software, whatever. And so we feel we are totally capable of just switching up the genre like this, and we want to keep doing that. So basically, you can never expect the type of game we want to make next. So.
Which is interesting, because in the podcast over the years, we interviewed a lot of studios and developers, and a lot of developers say they want to stay in a certain genre because they know they are good in that genre, and they don't have to fear that they are missing something because they are not familiar with the typical things that make the genre work, and so they would have an impact in financial gain because of low sales and so on. So you have a different approach. As I said, you never know what genre we step into next. You're more like the challenge of branching into new areas.
Yes, and
areas.
The point you make is totally fair. Yeah, but I also feel like it's better for the team to branch out, to see something beyond of what you already did. Basically, yeah, to make some new experiences. If that works out, we will have to see. For us, the game is not only the game itself; it's also like our portfolio of what we can do in the industry world. So yeah, we did like a precision platformer, but in the end it showed that we can do, because that was done with Unity standard pipeline before HDRP, and if you gave the game a look, it was to show that we can program custom lighting and all those jazz, which we did for that game. Yeah, as portfolio to tell people, yeah, we can actually do what we say we can do.
Interesting. So it's actually like a demo for your abilities, also for the business side, for the business software side of your company. So
yeah,
to complement each other.
Yeah, we like to stand not only on one column, if that is an expression.
Yeah, sure.
We want to branch out as much as we can. So not only did we make a game out of that, we also made like 2 custom asset packs that we made for the game, but we are now also selling on the asset store with a couple of shaders made for that, and so on. So we are not reliant on the game being successful the studio will survive if the game sells or not, and that is very, very important for me, because the first priority is always to have the employees paid. That is what I want to have, and I want to sleep good with that. So,
which is actually good, because if you look at the market, especially the game industry has a lot of hire and fire, and sometimes the studios on the edge of closing because the last title didn't do well. So
yeah.
it's good to have a foothold in two industries, actually two sections at once.
And if you are a game developer and you want to work for us, you need to be prepared to also do industry work. But that is the give and take we can offer. But we noticed even the most passionate game developers really like their salary at the end of the month. So
Yeah.
Whatever pays the bills, right? Yeah. But I mean, I had a look. It's also interesting to see you also switch publishers depending on the genre.
yes.
So you are very focused on making sure you have the right partner for the kind of game you are releasing.
Yes, I think when my car is broken, I will bring it to the shop, and I will bring it to a shop that is specialized in my car. So why not apply the same logic here? As you mentioned, Aerosoft did a lot of simulator games and games exactly like this, even tycoon games. So they seem like a very good publisher for us. And yeah, with Cobra Teku, that is a different story. Beam started as self-published, which also told we got the experience from that we never want to do that again. Yeah. Same logic applies with the car bring to the shop. We are not publishers. We cannot do that. We don't know how to. But we had a bit of help with a company that is actually the mother company of now this publisher, because they made a publishing label. And when they started off, I told them, hey, if you want, maybe it would benefit us both. We get a publisher and you get your first game that's basically already finished without any investment of yours in your portfolio. And that was a win-win for both sides. And that's why we are with Corpora Teco now.
Interesting. I also saw in your press release on your homepage that was actually regarding Gamescom this year that you have been part of the state booth of Rhineland-Palatinate organized by GameUp.
Yes.
That's the software and games forum for games developers. So it's kind of a partnership for PR.
Well, some states have their own booth. It's like a group booth on Gamescom. So the booth we had there, that was, yeah, it was perfect, really cool looking. And to be honest, we could never pay for that ourselves. So it was a good deal to come there and to take part in the politics. We are already invested in local politics to push forward game funding and such things here in Germany. So yeah, we were glad to be part of that, and that was a mutual beneficial deal as well. And
Awesome.
We want to be with them next year on Gamescom too.
Awesome. All right. So now let's talk a bit about the gameplay. So what's the typical? Well, I guess what's the typical game action you can expect? You mentioned the managing part.
Oh, yeah, well, you have to build and manage the simulation. So the first scenario will be something like what everyone already experienced, like the festival parking on a just grass with some students and hectically doing this. So that would be like the first scenario you have to manage. And the late game would be something like the airport parking, where you have a lot different needs from different people going there. You have the long-term parking, you have park and ride, you have the people who are on the clock because they just want to leave something there and they want to be out before they have to pay. That's usually like 5 or 10 minutes. So if they come to a traffic jam, they will be really unsatisfied because then they have to pay. So you have to juggle all this. And basically the core game loop works like you build the garage or your parking environment, and cars will come, and while they are in your parking environment, they will experience things, good things, bad things. And at the end of the day, they will give you a rating. I don't know, between 1 and 5. Let's say between 1 and 5. And the worse your rating is, the less cars will come. And the better your rating is, more cars will come. But when more cars come, you might have traffic jams. So that will result in worse ratings. So less cars will come. So you have to manage this and stay afloat. If you drop below 0 with the money, you lost.
Okay, interesting.
Just point out that the designers of Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey should really take a look at this game for tips, because their parking situation is abysmal.
Yeah, and that's the point with when I say everyone has a story. And I think we will, I know we will also add a sandbox mode where people can try to build their own parking garage, or maybe then the ones they experience. And also our scenarios as well as the save files are serialized the same way. So at the end you will have like a encoded text file which you can upload then to the Steam Workshop and make your own scenarios. So modding a scenario will be possible from day one.
Oh,
awesome! Yeah, I mean, the modding scene is sometimes hated and loved by publishers or game developers alike. I mean, some say we don't give any support to the game as soon as you have any mods installed. Other studios actually support modders and like it. I mean, we had on the podcast we had farming simulators. Farming simulator is they are really emphasizing on the modding ability. So I'm glad to hear that you are one of those good companies that support modding of their game, you know.
I think it's really short-sighted to not support it. Yeah, of course, you might not be able to give support to a crashed game when mods are involved, because you don't know what code is introduced to your game.
Exactly.
How
exactly.
could you?
Yeah.
But to make the game open for mods, that seems to me like a decision, because it will give replayability unlimited. So
yeah, it increases the longevity because
yes.
Because it's not just the core game anymore. It's you know.
And not exactly the same region, but for the game we did before for Beam, we noticed that there are some speedrunners going on that, and that was the same thing for me. We have no mods for Beam, but what we supported the speedrunners as well as we could, like adding to the game code. We added something like they use this software LiveSplit to measure their times, and we made an auto pause for LiveSplit when you have LiveSplit running in the game code. So when the game loads a level, it will pause your timer.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's the same. To have speedrunners going to your game, it's like a badge of honor, because they spend hours and hours and hours running your game and streaming it. It's basically free advertising. So of course we want to support it. And the same goes with mods. You have people who do the mods who will then advertise their mods, which will advertise your game. I see no reason to not support mods for your game.
But I read that that competition games or speedrunner games, they have one thing that is important, and that is that such games are working on a variety of hardware and are very good optimized. So games that only work on the latest hardware or are very badly optimized and need a fast computer would not be selected by speedrunners, because you wouldn't be able to compare the game progress, because not everybody has the latest hardware. So
Yeah.
I guess this optimization problem is a thing on top if you want your game to be speedrunnable.
I think there is more to a game being speedrunnable. I think first the inclusion of an in-game timer will solve a lot of your performance issues if you add this. Also, I think the game is. I'm not a speedrunner. I'm just guessing here, but I
Okay.
think the game is more enjoyable if the things you have to do to complete your speedrun are skill based and not random. If they're random, there might be a lot of frustration. But if it's skill based, you only have yourself to blame to ruin your run. For the optimization part, we will do this for the next game as well. We did some community streams where when you had the game, you could come to the chat and tell us about a bug. We would look into the game's files to see if we can find the bug and maybe solve it and explain what went wrong, why that happened, and that people really liked that.
Awesome.
Even if we could not solve the bug, it gave people an opportunity to be heard, because they saw a developer in front of the camera of the stream speaking with them about their issue, and even if it remained unsolved, they had a good feeling because they were heard.
This is a good approach, because most publishers or game developers, I've noticed, are using early access on Steam for that. Live streaming, I didn't hear so much about live streaming debug sessions.
Yeah, I think the early access is a little bit tainted nowadays. Too many companies abused the feature, and I see it in myself. I rather not buy an early access title. Better wait a few months, see if they are still on it or not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and the live streaming of debugging sessions, it can be an easy thing, an easy win. Like, okay, we have a missing collider somewhere. Okay, let's add a collider and call it a day. But sometimes there were really nutcrackers there, so we had to really think about it. And sometimes you have to tell them, okay, that's more than I can do on a live stream. I really need my peace and quiet to think about this, and they understand. So it's up to you how you sell it, basically, in your stream, I guess.
Interesting. So now we learn there's a lot more to this game than just be better at parking afterwards.
We are not entirely sure if you can drive the cars, but we want to have it as basically we do not feel comfortable in implementing a whole physically correct driving simulation in there. But I think it could be fun to drive around in your own parking garage.
Yeah.
So on a basic level, we thinking about implementing a feature like this, but even with a name like this, it's not about the parking itself.
Yeah. Again, that was another thing I was thinking of before this. I was like, so does it just kind of plop you into a parking spot, okay, park between those two cars? I'm like, because I'll never beat this game because I can't parallel park.
Really?
And there is
awful.
a game like this for I think for Android. It's a what was the name? It's also something like parking world something, or ultimate parking world or something like this. And there you can do exactly this. You need to park the car.
That sounds horrible. I'm looking it up.
That sounds horrible. Let's download it.
Oh, I'm not downloading it. I'm just looking it up.
I think there is a game called on Steam be better at park. Yeah. There is a game you suck at parking, and that's actually also available for the PC. And I remember that because last year we interviewed them at Gamescom. So
there are so many. There are so many parking games.
Yeah.
On Android, and it's given me anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close this right now.
You suck at parking is more
I
like
do.
You suck at parking is more like an action game, you know?
Yeah.
Whoever parks first wins, you know? So it's about speed, not about being accurate and good in parking. Just try not to to forget to brake and fall into the sky or something, you know. So it's more like this kind of action game.
That's a
well,
new
at
one.
least so far we are the only management game for parking.
Yeah, I mean, sounds so, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Which is also interesting because most of the games by Aerosoft are more like bus simulator where you are driving, or city driving where you actually drive in a car. So there are less simulators, you know. Yeah.
And maybe we will do a simulator next. We don't know. It might happen. That would be a real simulator, but that would be the project after Parking World.
Can you spill some beans already, or is it super secret yet?
I think it will have to do something with trains.
Your glows trains.
But
trains?
You're not
like
on
trains.
the train.
Oh, okay.
Okay, interesting. I mean, there is Train Simulator by Microsoft, so you would have some competition there. If
you said you weren't going to be on the train, though, so that leads me to believe it would be more of a train management or possibly like a layout, sort of lay down the tracks.
Well, there is a specific job that has to be done daily in the railway, but we will talk about it next Gamescom. So
I think I know what you're talking about.
Managing the timetable and the tracks and so on the board, perhaps.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
your guess is as good as mine, so
I'm not going to say anything because I know some people that have worked in trains. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, some knowledge advantage ahead of me. Okay, interesting. Nice. So on Steam it says it's planned for next year. So how much of the game is progressed yet?
I think most of the boilerplate is done. So the underlying systems are well underway, and we're now actually plugging together the gameplay, if that makes sense. And we in the early project phases we were looking to nail down all the performance issues. So right now we had a post on Twitter. You can look that up if you want, where we showed a simulation of a performance of pathfinding for pedestrians, and we can simulate like what was it, around 2,700 parking spots. With there were 600 agents trying to find their way through that, and we had path calculation in under 3 milliseconds.
Awesome!
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like really for us. The team was really hype on that. I guess for people not looking into programming, that is like, okay, what the fuck did he just say? But but yeah, it really fast, and it works multi-threaded. So you even if they don't find the way immediately, you will just see the model of the pedestrian like looking for the way, but you will not see a stutter in the graphics.
Cool.
I mean, in the latest Need for Speed Unbound, I actually was the one that found a bug in the pathfinding of pedestrians when you are in a car and there is a street crossing, and the person, the pedestrian who tries to cross the street in front of your car, for some reason thought that they are hitting the car, and in the middle of the street they actually turn back and make an animation like you hit them with the car despite you didn't. So I know how that is if that pathfinding doesn't work. So the pedestrian never managed to get over the street, to cross the street, you know.
But did you end up running him over?
No.
I would just run his ass over. He's not going to get out of the way.
I think after 5 minutes and like 20 fails, the AI actually managed to cross the street.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
but I made a screen recording of the times where it failed and sent it to EA, and they actually fixed it in the day 1 patch. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, we are not EA, so we will not have the biggest QA. So I guess you will find bugs in our game as well. And for our simulation, you have a lot of edge cases when you speak about confined spaces and cars. So you can make a soft lock that would be mathematically very hard to solve with just 3 cars trying to park. And our pathfinding is completely mathematical. So there is no pre-baked animation in the parking animation.
I
so
see,
that
I
is
see,
solved on the spot.
I see.
But that also means that at some point there will be those edge cases and those soft locks. So what we did was we paused the agents, and after I think it was like 5 or 10 seconds, we just brute force solve it. So that means that the cars will pass through each other. Because in the end, it was more important to keep the simulation running than give all the compute power to solve this soft lock there.
Of course.
And I think we will make that into a feature. So when this situation occurs, we will just make like bubbles above the heads with like insert some
like the Friends episode with the couch.
It's very realistic.
Yeah, do it like the Friends episode with the couch where he's yelling "pivot, pivot," trying to get the thing up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to apologize. I worked in software testing, so it's just something I instantly notice if there's a bug somewhere, and I most likely find it. You know, that's just me. That's happens all the time.
Yeah, I don't expect to be bug free, but I expect the game to be finishable.
And some games, I mean, you look at games that are that have some bugs in them. I mean, the entire games have been built around just being completely like Goat Simulator is just one giant bug.
Yeah.
And I mean that was a huge game, like just because nothing works right. It's like that's the kind of thing where like games like that, you can kind of benefit from the bugginess.
For Beam, the players discovered a way to make a wall jump, even though we did not code any wall jumps.
Oh,
so they made it happen. I think one of the developers actually wrote a fix for that, but we did not publish the fix because it would ruin the speedrunner's pathing. So we kept it in, and now it's a feature. It's a set of near frame perfect inputs, and if they use it to jump out of the map, so what? Then they jumped out of the map. The game is totally solvable without the wall jump. But yeah, it's a little feature, or it was a bug. Now it's a feature that makes the game more interesting for speedrunning, and so we kept it.
It's actually something Sega did with Sonic Frontiers. Actually, speedrunners found a bug, like where you could do wall clipping out of the boundaries of the world, and Sega would fix this in an update, and they would find new ways to get around the limitation, So that can also be a battle, developer company against speedrunners.
No, I don't like that scenario. At this point, I would try to get in touch with the community and ask them, what do you want? Do you want that we fix it, or do you want that to keep that for your runners? Yeah. And with our community, we made the deal: if it is a bug that is encountered by a casual player that would ruin their experience, we try to fix it. But if it's a rare edge case but they use it and they like to go out of bounds at this point, we keep it in, and that is the deal we have with them. We only check if it's a bug that is encountered by a casual playthrough.
So here you see the difference between big developer companies like Sega and EA, or small studios like yourself.
Well, I think it's more studios that are willing to work with and listen to their audience.
I'm not sure if our way is the correct way, because we are small and EA is big, but I think that is more. I see it more as games as a service.
Mm-hmm.
The people playing the game, they will stay engaged with you, your products, your company, your games, if you try to listen to them. And it's not like you need this exorbitant amount of additional people to handle that. It's just have a point where the people can contact the company, or from time to time just ask on the Discord, I don't know, do you like this or this feature? And depending on the results, you can do that. That is something I think every company can do.
I mean, it also depends on the company. I mean, at EA, there is no way to officially report a bug. So when I did a chat with the technical support, at first they didn't understand what I want. They were like, is your game broken? Did you try to reinstall it? And I'm like, no. I don't need technical support. I want to report a fault in the game.
EA isn't the company they used to be, where they focused the attention on the people making the games and kind of
exactly.
It's like EA was EA, and now EA was Electronic Arts, and now they're EA, and EA is a totally different entity that is just a corporate conglomerate of all sorts of other nonsense.
I mean, in the end, they got it to quality assurance, and they got a coder to fix it. But the way to make them understand that I don't need technical support, but want to report an issue with the game, they totally acted like we are EA. We don't make mistakes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I'm just saying I like the old EA a lot better.
I think it's the moment a company goes public, when you stop working for yourselves or your clients, when you're just working for the shareholders, then you stop caring about those.
Yep.
Exactly. Anyway, that's just me. But it's really something that bugs me when I see a flaw or a bug in a game or in a program. I feel the inner urge to report it.
Yeah, good. Join our Discord when you start playing our game.
Awesome.
We have a feedback channel where you can just leave it, preferably with a screenshot or short video, so it helps the developers to actually reproduce and find it.
Do you actually need a QA person in your company, or are you not actually looking?
Not that we can pay for one. But if you want to do it, then
yeah. Awesome. Anyway, okay. So, what else can you tell us about the gameplay or the game itself?
You didn't ask him your most important question,
and that is,
how did you get started in computing and stuff?
Well, I mean,
you ask that to everybody, man.
Yeah, right.
But skip that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of started already that you took over the company from your father, right? But that's actually true. Normally, our first question is, how did you get started into computers and tech in general?
Yeah, of course we always had it in our home because my father was already coding with that. So, but I think I really got started when we were youngsters and made LAN parties.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and we even organized some in our region. So the biggest we did was with 440 players, and I was 17 by that time when we did that. And that for some reason got stuck. And while others were, I don't know what they were doing, I wrote a handling tool for pizza orders on LAN parties. So you, you could log in into the intranet and order a pizza, and then it would all get organized and helped with the booking there. And well, after school, I went to university and started in computer science, but I did not finish that because to finance myself in my student life, I started working on events and television and movie productions, and uh, did I took my programming there and programmed lighting setups and all that stuff, and then made a um, n- an education as a cinematographic lighting operator and designer, and I did that for like 15 years. Then I noticed that being on tour is only cool between 25 and 35.
Yep.
After that, yeah, well, the magic started to be gone, and
Yeah.
that's when I decided I never gave up coding. So we're working on just some hobby stuff, and with Sebastian, I decided to make that my main focus. So stopped going on tour and started being Binary Impact. We did some television jobs still from 2016 to 2019, but then at the end of 2019, we all know what happened and what came, and so this column where we were standing on were reduced to zero overnight. No more shootings, no more big events where we did stuff for. And that forced us to focus entirely on software development, where it was before it was like 60% like TV and event and like 40% software. We were overnight were forced to 100% software. And
Wow.
yeah, we stuck with that and actually managed to grow over the pandemic, um, because there were a sudden need for digitalization and
Yes.
project like this. So yeah, there were a lot of negative aspects, but it told the world to work remote, and with that came a whole need of a lot of different tools and stuff. So we found a home there, and yeah, I think that is the story how I came to tech.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I see you still mention it in the our services section. It says planning and realization of events slash live streaming. So
Yeah, we did, of course, as a lot of event technicians started to make because we had all the equipment. Not we personally, because I was always like a free technician. So you would have the equipment and you would book me to handle that equipment.
Right.
So we knew a lot of people, and those people were also without shows, without tours, without shootings. So, but they had everything, like the lighting, the microphones, the consoles, the lamps, the cameras. It was all there. They just needed someone to tell them what the hell is Twitch.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
true.
yeah,
True.
we produced like a gaming news journal series for the state of Rhineland-Palatinate, and we also did a lot of like politic things like press conferences for them because they had no idea how to do streaming stuff, and yeah, we still do that. before COVID, we actually had some big productions we managed. We were involved in the opening of the Tour de France in Düsseldorf, and managed that. That was a nightmare of a production, I can tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, for some reason they thought it is a great idea from one place on the big area where it all started to have the stage overnight moved to a different side of the place.
Oh.
Ooh.
And we were really in a time constraint. So on the spur of the moment, I asked a crane, a cart, truck train, not train, crane thing, like the
Mhm.
big trucks with the crane on top.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
asked them if we could move our PA towers from one side of the place to the other one. And so we at one point had it was like 5 or 6 tons of PA moving around.
Oh my God.
And I was there sweating. And
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but we managed that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, can you tell us when you actually plan to release the game? Or is it like 2024 and that's it?
No, it's actually closer than you think. We want to release at early Q2 or late Q1. I'm not allowed to tell it more specific than this.
Okay. Sure.
We will release on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Awesome.
nice.
Any plans for Switch or other consoles later?
Well, I think you know that the Switch is a potato. And
Yes, but even the potato can run Doom and Wolfenstein too.
well,
as
everything
Panic Button told
everything
us.
can run Doom. That's not a challenge anymore. But at this point, I saw.
Anyway, now the question remains: where can people find out more about the game and your company, of course?
Well, on our webpage is a good start. Actually, if you already are on the webpage, you can just enter links dot our domain, so links.binaryimpact.de, and there you have a very comfortable one pager with buttons to everything: our YouTube, our Twitter, our games, our Steam pages, everything.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Excellent. We'll put links to that in the podcast description below. Or
Awesome.
should be there, actually, I think.
Awesome.
If I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yes. Well, there's one thing we ask our guests before we let them go, and that. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thanks a lot. Awesome. Yeah. Well, so have a nice evening or night almost, right? It's late in Germany.
Yeah.
It is.
We'll stay awake though. Speaking of the client, because they are in Vietnam, I actually have to stay awake a bit because for an early meeting for them is middle in the night for me.
So
We've done that. We've done that a few times.
That's true. Yeah. When we rolled out of bed in the morning for interview with China or Japan or something. Yeah. Similar. Awesome.
Well, it happens.
Awesome.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you for sitting with us. It's been a pleasure.
And have a successful release.
Yeah.
Next year.
I'm looking forward to
we look forward to that. Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly what I wanted to say. Awesome. So thanks again and talk to you then. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.